Hi there, I'm popping in to let you know that Mercury is going to be retrograde, or apparently retrograde, from the 25th of November to the 1st of December. So if you've come across this term phrase before, or you know about Mercury retrograde and what it potentially means for us, I just want to take you through some scientific and astronomy facts to talk about it, and then what it actually means for us who have a belief that everything in the planet is connected. So retrograde is the term that's used when it appears that a planet is going backwards. So when we look from the Earth at a planet, it may look as if it's moving backwards, but actually it isn't. It's just an effect that we see from the Earth. So this is caused when the Earth overtakes a slower moving planet as it orbits around the Sun, or when Earth is overtaken by a faster moving planet running around the Sun. I've had to write this down. Technically and scientifically, it is called apparent retrograde motion. So none of the planet's motions or speeds have changed. It's just an effect where their orbit paths are in relation to each other. So they move around at different speeds and paces as they orbit the Sun, and when they get to a certain point, we look up and see Mercury, and it looks as if it's going backwards because of where it's placed in position to the Earth on its orbit path. Mercury takes 88 days to orbit the Sun, and the Earth takes 365, as we know. So 3 or 4 times a year, we see this effect of apparent retrograde motion when Mercury looks like it's going backwards, and each time it happens, it lasts for about 3 weeks. So those are the facts. I've also read recently that scientists and science tell us that there is no evidence that a planet's apparent retrograde motion affects us at all. Now, whether or not they've actually done any tests or scientific studies or evidence to say that, I don't know. And I accept that belief, that's the belief that they have. But for those of us who believe that everything in the planet is connected, and that every movement creates a wave or a vibrational frequency, that every movement creates some kind of movement or flow, then yes, I think it's okay for us to believe that there is an impact on what happens. If it looks like it's going backwards, then obviously there's other things that could potentially happen as well. So what's generally known about this time of apparent retrograde motion, which is what I'm going to call it from now on, because that is a good technical term to use, because it's not technically retrograde, meaning it's going backwards. It's an apparent retrograde motion. The balance of waves and vibrational frequencies change, and there is thoughts, feelings and beliefs that causes communication issues. So verbal, written communication issues where people misunderstand one another. It leads to arguments, it leads to disagreements, it leads to difficulties that things just aren't right. Technical issues are also very common during the time of the apparent retrograde motion with Mercury, and things just seem to go wrong or awry. I'm having difficulty with my R words today. Go wrong or awry for no good reason. So it's up to you what you choose to believe. I believe there has to be something that potentially happens when we see that apparent effect. Because I believe that everything is connected. I believe that everything has a flow. I believe everything has a vibrational frequency. So if the planets and their orbits are in a different place, and we apparently see something that's going backwards but isn't really going backwards, then yes, things can potentially look and feel different to us here. So what if those things going wrong are just our perception? Like it's the perception of a planet going backwards. It's our perception of perhaps we're just not paying attention to what's being said to us because we are impacted by that vibrational frequency and flow. So if you do have some technical issues, and I've already had them, it's already started for me. My TV went crazy a few days ago. And it just kept going back to the same channel and nothing I did made a difference. I auto-tuned 3 times, and if you do something 3 times and it hasn't worked, you have to do something else. I had to take it back to factory settings to get it sorted. If that happens, it's nothing to worry about. I think Mercury retrograde comes with this idea that, oh, it's going to be a terrible time, and it's not. If you're mindful and spiritual intuitive, you recognize that there's this change in the planetary aspects. You understand what's going on because I've just given you some of the facts. And it's just this idea of slowing down and not taking things at face value, because it's an apparent retrograde motion. And that means it looks like it's going backwards, but it's not. So it's a reminder to us to look at things and not just take them at face value and think something is a particular thing when it's not. So it's a reminder, it's a lovely reminder to us to ask more questions, to delve into things a bit more from our heart, but also from our conscious mind. And it's also a reminder of patience. If things do go awry, it's not forever, okay? The planets, in 3 weeks' time, the planets will have moved on, and they'll be back into what appears to be a normal, regular motion. So patience, consideration, ask more questions, be thoughtful, continue to be compassionate, and we'll work through all this. And I think it's really exciting as well that we have this apparent retrograde motion that's going to happen during a new moon and a full moon. So there's going to be some really interesting guidance that comes up from the universe during this time. So I'm really excited. I'm probably the only person who is, but I'm really excited about this Mercury apparent retrograde motion. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful rest of the week, whatever you're doing. And I'll probably be back on the new moon to give you some guidance from the otherworldly. Take care. Bye.